Welcome to Ishera's world. I'm your life coach, Ishera's world. Welcome to Ishera's world. I'm your life coach. Welcome to Ishera's world. I'm your life coach, Ishera's world. Welcome to Ishera's world. Hi, everybody. Welcome to my world. My name is Ishera, and she's your life coach. Hi, everybody. My name is Ish, and welcome to my world. Today's circle of love will be breathing esoterically. Breathing esoterically. So that's today's circle of love conversation. L.C.C. life coach consultation. Breathing esoterically. Now, breeding started off with, I feel, in my perspective, Enki, Nimhersung, and the fourth dimensional species called the Unkeels, or some type of third dimensional terrestrial to mix with us, which gave us the power of compassion. I'm in a new park today, and I'm in Brooklyn, and it smells really shitty. It smells like boo boo poo poo pee pee, but I'm never in Brooklyn, so I was like, okay, let me record in Brooklyn because I've never been in Brooklyn. And I promised myself I would travel more, so here we are. Now, when it comes to breeding, you have to keep in mind the scientific physical truth, which is sperm from the male energy and egg from the female energy, combining and mixing in third dimensional or higher realm, creating life. And within doing so, a lot of metaphysical people like myself believe that this is symbolic to chaos and bliss coming together. Chaos plus bliss equal DNA strand. This DNA is no joke. If you utilize DNA correctly, my little boys and girls, on Mama's Family Circle YouTube station, you'll realize that creating a legacy with another person is it could be very intricate and could be beneficial if done correctly. I believe more towards the Egyptian side of things, staying into the bloodlines and close to your DNA blood strands as possible when it comes to interbreeding. But my first child was a love child. Audrey's was a love child, but definitely you can utilize DNA strand breeding as building your empire by creating the best species you can create. Entertainers do it all the time. Okay, I'm done with that. Entertainers do it all the time. Okay, I'm done with that. Entertainers do it all the time. I hate Jay-Z and Beyonce, but at the same time, I respect Jay-Z for his hustle. I do. I really do. Can't say nothing bad about the bird guy, except loosen up. Now, this is also a setup to what life is all about. When it comes to breeding and when it comes to this third dimensional realm, in my perspective, Ishera, your international life coach, a woman who looks at things in many different perspectives and never look at just one situation one time. And I would never devalue anyone's perspective, but that's what makes me different from most people. And metaphysically, it is more so the question of life. The question of life. Hold on, let me connect with nature. Hello, leaves. Hello, sun. Hello, clouds, hanging one by one. Feel the breeze blowing. Feel can't get up. And that was our creation moment. And continuing with our conversation of breeding esoterically, you also have to keep in mind that it's like the question of life, like I said before. It's either you're going to pick fleshly desires, or you're going to enlighten your own self and your own true path. And as a metaphysical person trying to achieve betterment, you're focused on self, and you're so focused on self that you have no time to criticize other. It's that the metaphysical truth is that you focus on yourself so much so that you have no time to focus on anyone else, because you're too busy focused on enlightening and bettering yourself. And tell you, I believe there's not enough time in the day, and I'm only a housewife with her own business, and I stay busy. And as a life coach, I believe you need to know, when it comes to the topic of breeding, is that this is the reason why I'm going to switch it on another level, because I talk in many levels. I could also warn you and tell you this is another reason why on another level that Mulaski has said, love you Mulaski, love and blessings, they put us in a quarantine, in a quarantine from the upper species, the angels, because we became so dangerous by the decisions we were making. And this all started with our beautiful Bible religious couple, which was Adam and Eve. There was also an Adam and Lilith, but that's another story. But Adam and Eve. And in the Bible, they say they lost the blessing when Eve spoke to the snake and ate of the apple, which was a metaphysical speaking of fucking and sucking and sexual energy. Kundalini, snake, starts from here. Kundalini, snake energy, starting from down there, working your way up, is a dangerous thing if not too careful. So we were put in quarantine to block us off from the higher dimensions. But at the same time, again, life is yin and yang, black and white, plain and simple, sperm and egg, is to know that it was actually a blessing to us by as soon as Eve ate of the apple of truth, she opened herself up to different feelings, different emotions. Sadly, religion makes us believe that emotion and sexuality and kundalini energy is negative, but in all actuality, no, it's not. It's good. And by using the elements, and by using what I use as a life coach, tarot cards, and using water and talking to the answers, you are putting yourself in a situation to be balanced, to stay on the enlightened side, outside of the fleshly, carnal side. Now, when you're dealing with breeding, you're dealing with Kundalini energy, which is a sexual energy that stems from the base, which is the vagina and the penis part of the physical body. And by in doing so, you reach with two entities a orgasm energy release that is an energy that cannot be described. And I heard through, again, Mulaski, what up, girl, that Pashal Beverly Randolph, that is Pashal Beverly Randolph, said, and I quote, "The moment when a man discharges his seed, his essential self, into a womb is the most solemn energy and powerful moment he can ever know on earth. If under the influence of mere lust, if under the influence of mere lust, if under the influence of mere lust, it be done, and the discharge is suicidal. The discharge is suicidal. The discharge is suicidal. Your sexual pull, our sexual pulls, our sexual natural states are on two different levels, because we have the sperm and we have the egg. We have or we can look at it on a different level. We have the positive energy and we have the negative energy, or we could look at it on another level where we have the feminine principle and the masculine principle. Again, with metaphysics, you're looking at it on several layers, and within looking at it on several layers, you need to know that the man energy is like a wasting of energy. And I've heard this and I agree with this. And it's giving away the potential to spread within quantity, because that's how our males think. That's how they react. They're about quantity. They're about experiencing as many experiences as they truly can, unlike the feminine principle, where we and our energy flow is more so like conserving, whereas the men's energy is as wasting and releasing, and the woman is like the opposite, which is the conserving. And as we conserve, we tend to, as third dimensional beings, to look for multiple capabilities, because we conserve. We don't get our rocks off as much as men do on a census. We get it when we want it, but not as much as men, because we are very particular on who and when we choose to deal with people. And female energy is more so on a looking for multiple compatibilities in that one person, whereas the male principle is looking for as many experiences and personalities as possible. Now, within knowing this, there's only a couple of different sex metaphysically situations they are. And as a life coach, I feel this is important for you to know, so I'm sharing with you the different examples of sex the metaphysical way, or under the full topic of breeding. The first one is sex production, and that's what we third dimensional people do. So with things like the Karma Sutra, and there's also sex pleasure, whereas, perfect example, back in the day I used to for sure enjoy self pleasure, sharing with you too much information, but as a life coach I do. And I enjoyed self-pleasure, I think, to a point where it was detrimentally damaging to me, because I just enjoyed it, I believe, way too much, to the point of sexual pleasure. But if you keep a balance, there's no problem with it. The third example of, again, breeding esoterically is sex energy generator or magical tools. Now, sex energy generators are examples of, like, perfect example, tantric yoga, I believe, and sex energy generators. That would be the opposite of what you do, which is conserving from sexual activity. You can generate sexual kundalini snake energy by holding back and withstanding from releasing your seed or your egg or your sperm or whatever, and that builds you up in a metaphysical level. But also you could use it as a magic tool to cure yourself, or to take your lovemaking to another level, or take your comprehension to another level, or transcendence to a different place. Also, there's another fourth example of sexual metaphysical energy, which is spiritual awakening. This is my life coach path, or anybody who teaches metaphysical, like Malasky and Rahotep, and that white guy, the enlightened one, I think he's called, or something like that. Like, these are people teaching, and I feel like these people are a, like, guiding light to what I always saw myself doing, but on a bigger level, and it's awesome, completely awesome. Now, there are many different examples and sets that deal with this breeding esoteric energy that I've been talking about through this whole video. Yes, and I want to give you some examples of what I've heard from different metaphysical teachers and providers about examples in different third dimensional realms of, again, sexual breeding, esoteric breathing. Now, we can start with Egypt. Egypt dealt with sexual rituals and magic with each other in the third dimensional realm, but I believe they've also dealt with sexual magic with the gods. This is connecting with the Kemetan, what are they called? The Natiru animal metamorphic human deities, and they do this in Jeepub, and this is connected with the sexual magic, again, with the sexual magic. And it's so bright, I want to make sure that everything is okay. And then we can also look at it on the white people level, the Wiccan level. It transcended into that time frame too, and it transcended into something called the Great Rites, which is the humans channeling, again, gods, any gods. This is different from the Egyptians. The Egyptians called Pacific people. The Wiccans called anybody to come into their body, or if they wanted a Pacific person, they think of a Pacific person to come within them, and within doing so, to use their bodies for sexual connection, sexual pleasure, sexual enlightenment through the gods. And there's also white magicians, and these white magicians deal with secret occult practices of the sexual nature, and this is more like family bloodline rituals. And also there's dark magic. Dark magic is used, people who say they're dark magicians achieve immortality through these sexual rites and rituals. Also, the Sufis and the Knight Templar, which is the Roman days, uses to travel with this information into Europe, and I believe selling it to the whites and making them the 9 families that run this whole third dimensional realm. Like, seriously, they sold it for a high price. They sold out us Moors too, but it's all good. To finish up on this topic of breeding, I wanted to allow masturbation to be the last part of the conversation, because when we're dealing with masturbation, we're not dealing with another entity. We're not dealing with connecting and creating through a third dimension. We're actually speaking and experiencing with self. Now, masturbation can be a beautiful thing. I believe during the young times of living, masturbation is very good for young kids because they have so much energy, they have so much extra source that the masturbation helps with the relaxing of the erratic feelings and emotion of the teenagers. I feel that masturbation becomes something negative when we, as older, higher thinking beings, don't take a heed or watch over how we do things and how often we do it and how often we don't do it. And within doing so, then you set yourself up to either be an addictive person who is prone to programming, or a individual spirit that's unplugged and off grid. Again, that's your life and your choose, going back to the beginning of this topic, which was breeding. Breeding is sperm and egg equaling creation, equaling DNA strand, chaos and blessings equaling birth. Life is about choosing one out of two, fleshly desires or enlightenment. You choose. Thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you guys so much for watching. Any link I promised, or any something I said and I didn't give the information, I'll leave it all down below. Again, this is Ishera, and this has been a Circle of Love topic on breeding. And I hope to see you again in my next video here on Ishera's World, a metaphysical view from a life coach with many different views. I'll speak to you soon. Namaste, Wadu, Love and blessings. Boom Shanti. Good day to you. Good day to you. I'll see you soon. I'll see you soon. So keep a smile on your face. Keep a smile on your face. And keep the hate away. And keep the hate away. Goodbye to you. I'm feeling good. I love you too. And I'll see you soon. So enjoy your day. This is Ishera, and I'll see you next time.